My name is Amir Epstein. Along with Brian Lebovetsky, we founded Tafsik organization. Today we launch a very important mission called T.E.C.A.H, which stands for the Emergency Coalition Against Hate. For the Jewish community, we suffered the worst egregious atrocities of our people have faced since the Holocaust. What we witnessed on October 7th wasn't just pure violence and hatred. We saw the darkest perversion of humanity. The ecstasy in their eyes from the barbarism they committed is a darkness too repulsive and revolting to mimic, even for horror films. Today, our community faces complicity to the violence we suffered and excuses for why it happened. They call it resistance. Shameful. Resisting Israel by raping women. Resisting Israel by putting babies into ovens. They are all insufferable cowards. In Canada, we are populated by Islamist pro-Palestinian mobs who share in the same ideologies as Hamas, or at the very least excuse their sick, perverted actions. I want to make it very clear, Islamist does not mean Muslim, as there are many Muslims here today, our allies, fighting against the same fight as our enemy, all over here. We see the Islamists attacking decent, hardworking Canadians, and it's not because they care for the Palestinians. They do not. They want one thing, an Islamic caliphate where everybody in this room must submit to their ideology and bow down to Sharia law. This isn't my theory. It's not a scare tactic. This is what they're telling us, loud and clear. I believe them. There are larger numbers and growing under our current administration. They have brainwashed the far left and has now become fashionable to support terrorists. The masses believe they share a common goal, simply to decapitate democracy. These useful idiots are far left Marxist, communist, woke haters of Western ideologies and democracy. Our freedoms discarded at the expense of their lazy fantasies. They march with rainbow flags on their shirts while standing with those who want them all dead. Imagine that. It would be akin to African Americans marching the streets of Washington, D.C. with their KKK hoodies over their heads. Ironically, though, the KKK and the pro-Palestinians do have a lot in common, as they like to share the same cowardice habits of covering their faces while, of course, shouting racist slurs in public. We've seen groups like Queers for Palestine, Chickens for KFC, Jewish Voices for Peace, both self-loathing, fanatical groups of people who support those who would throw them off of rooftops in their home Islamic countries, and will do the same here if given the chance. These Islamist and far-left groups together are dead set on ending all democracies. So every single time you hear them say free, free Palestine, remember what they're actually saying is kill, kill Canada. Kill, kill America. Kill, kill Australia. Kill, kill Germany. Kill, kill Israel. And kill, kill democracy. Yet, our Western universities encourage the brainwashing of our youth into believing that socialism and communism and Marxism will bring them freedom. My father, sitting right here, he came from a communist country. He'll tell you it's not as wonderful as they think it is. The money given to universities to push their anti-democratic agenda comes from Islamic countries whose Trojan horse was welcomed with open arms. The hate they propagate against Israel is a projection of hatred against all of the West, including Canada. They don't actually care for the Palestinian people, or they would have marched for the tens of thousands of Palestinians killed in Jordan during Black September. They don't care about the Palestinian people, or they would have marched against Lebanon, forcing a refugee status on 500,000 Palestinians for the last 75 years. And they don't care about Palestinian people, or they would have marched for the hundreds of thousands who fled Syria and the tens of thousands who were murdered by the Assad regime. They hate Israel not because they care for the Palestinians, but because they hate the Jews and they hate the West. The Iranian people know better than most what Islamic extremism really means. And today, Canadian Iranians are attacked and murdered by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, living amongst us here in Canada. The IRGC has its long tentacles penetrating our country, within our universities, within our government. How did this even happen? Their only purpose is to instill fear. The IRGC hope to topple our democracy and replace it with their terrorist, bloodthirsty, oppressive ways. Our Hindu brothers and sisters in Canada are attacked by the same ideological terrorists who committed the single worst terror attack in Canadian history after blowing up an Air India flight, killing 329 Canadian and Indian civilians. Our Christian community, constantly disparaged, constantly belittled by the far left just the same. The Azerbaijani, the Albanian communities, the Kosovars, we're all fighting the same fight here. We just want to live in peace, love our families, enjoy our freedom, and be left alone. The violent attack by Hamas is not a war against Israel. It's a war against everybody in this room. It isn't just a hatred for the Jews, it is hatred for everybody in this room. It is a full-scale assault on Western ideologies, and we see their ugliness emerge by the millions when they march in Australia, Britain, France, Germany, America, and of course right here in Canada. Our organization, Tafsik, was born from the ashes of the October 7th massacre. We felt an electric shock that reverberated down our spine and has awoken all of us here in this room. Gone are the days of the scared, frightened, let's not bother anybody Jew, and born are the fight back Maccabi warrior Jews. Each of our different ethnic communities here today may be few in numbers, but together we are bigger than them. And that is why we must speak as one voice, defending our democratic morals and our Western ideologies together. The only way our children will have a future in Canada is if we stand together. Today and every day moving forward, I am Jewish, I am Iranian, I am Hindu, I am Christian, I am Azerbaijani, I am Albanian, I'm all of you. Today is the launch of T.E.C.A.H, the Emergency Coalition Against Hate. And together, our communities will lobby the government and demand to be heard. Canada's future depends on our fighting together, and it starts today.